Hey friends, I have been dealing with some ongoing health issues, so we'll be taking a short break from recording new podcast episodes while I recuperate. During the break, we thought it would be fun to republish some of our favorite episodes from the 2023 archives. Can you believe we've been podcasting that long? We've handpicked these episodes for you and can't wait for you to listen. We will be back with new episodes really soon. In the meantime, you can show your support by leaving a 5-star review, listening to and sharing your favorite episodes, or purchasing an itinerary. I will still be updating my itineraries weekly and making sure you have everything you need for your upcoming trips. You can absolutely expect the same incredible experience I've been providing for the past 11 years. Now sit back and enjoy this entertaining episode from 2023. This is the Exploring the National Parks podcast with Dirt in My Shoes. My name is Ash, and I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes. I think that the parks are best seen from the trail, and I'm here to make national park trip planning easy.
And I'm John. I carry the kids on the trails, I tell stories, and notice all the things that Ash doesn't care about much, like rocks.
Join us as we show you around America's spectacular national parks.
We're sharing our favorite places, fun facts, adventures, and misadventures.
And we'll even throw in a little trip planning.
Let's start exploring.
Happy New Year! We are so excited. It's 2023. Woo! It's going to be a great year. We're hitting the ground running because as soon as the holidays are over, people start planning trips like crazy for the upcoming summer season.
Absolutely, they do.
So we start getting a lot busier helping people plan trips. And we thought, what better park to start with than Yellowstone, which is the park that most people have the most questions about.
Yes.
It's a huge national park.
It's the oldest and best national park.
There's so much to see. There's so much to do. Like, you can do like we do, which is basically go there at least once a year and still have a different experience every time and find new things to do. And so today we want to explore Yellowstone with you, taking you around the park and just sharing some of our favorite things and favorite places and stories from our own trips as we go all around Yellowstone.
All around Yellowstone. I am so excited. This is the coolest place. It's my favorite national park. And I think by the time you're done, it will be yours too.
Yeah, it's definitely worked its way up my ranks.
That's Ashley's diplomatic way of being like, it's not my favorite, but not my favorite, but it's the best.
It's not my favorite. And part of that is because whenever I used to go to Yellowstone, like any memories I have of Yellowstone of when I was younger or anything like that, it literally was traffic.
Yes.
Those are my memories of Yellowstone. And in fact, it got to the point where my family just really didn't go to Yellowstone anymore. We drive to Grand Teton. We love Grand Teton, but rarely would we actually go to Yellowstone during that trip.
Right.
And so, so I'm a little biased the opposite direction where it's like, all I think about is traffic. But then I married you. You love Yellowstone. You make me go to Yellowstone. We figure out how to do Yellowstone. So it's not just traffic.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh my gosh, this place is so cool.
It's the best. We cracked the code.
We cracked the code. It is so much better than I ever thought it was.
Yes.
From previous trips. So we want to take you all around Yellowstone. I think we should just start out. John, what is your favorite part of Yellowstone? Let's start there.
This is like choosing a favorite child, but I will endeavor to choose a spot. I choose Old Faithful.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I love Old Faithful so much. First of all, anyone that's heard of Yellowstone, that's the first thing that comes to their mind. Old Faithful. And they know exactly what it is. We hear about it in 3rd grade. There's this geyser up in Wyoming that erupts on a schedule and you can predict it, and it is so cool. Everybody knows about Old Faithful, and it is my favorite place, and that's where everybody wants to visit when they go to Yellowstone because it's the best. It's so great.
So Old Faithful for me, we go there every time. But I think in addition to that, I have just found a great love for the whole area around Old Faithful. So what we've started doing is we go to Old Faithful, which is super cool, but then you can walk around the area around Old Faithful, and there's other huge geysers
Mm-hmm.
in that area, just right near Old Faithful.
Right.
And so you've got Castle Geyser, which is so cool.
Amazing.
That one's really cool because I think it erupts like every 12 hours or something.
Yeah.
But it's steam phase. So like you can catch the eruption and see all the water spewing and stuff. We've done that. But its steam phase lasts a long time.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So even if you miss the actual like water coming out of Castle, you can see just like billows of steam for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. There are so many neat things right around Old Faithful. And so the reason Ash brings up Grand Geyser, Castle Geyser is because they're so fun. They're so neat and they're really cool. And there's generally less crowds around those, right, Ash?
Yeah, so we'll go and we'll see Old Faithful. And in fact, we don't even really sit where everybody sits to see Old Faithful. We've got a special spot that's really great that we talk about in the itinerary for Yellowstone. But so we'll go and we'll see Old Faithful. And we like to walk through the lodge and we like to get some lunch, usually the bison chili or something, the bison sausages.
Yeah, baby.
They're around Old Faithful. We'll get some ice cream. That's always fun. There's a big gift shop there and stuff. But, you know, usually after like an hour of that, I'm done in that area. There's just so many people.
Yeah. And honestly, I know it's sometimes crowds can be a little bit overwhelming, and sometimes it's just like, oh, there's so many people here. But I actually really love one of my favorite things to do in Yellowstone, and we don't do it that often, but every once in a while. One of my favorite things to do is around Old Faithful. There's this giant boardwalk that goes around Old Faithful in kind of a semicircle, and there's these benches, and literally it's like a sporting event. You will have hundreds, maybe even thousands of people.
Thousands? Oh my gosh. I don't think thousands. Hundreds.
Hundreds, low thousands. You'll have hundreds and hundreds of people just gathered around Old Faithful just in anticipation. You know, half of them have their phones out. Half of them are just like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to go? And everybody, it's one of the only places I think in the natural world where people will just sit and wait for something cool to happen. And I don't know, it's amazing. And then, you know, there will be false positives, you know, like every once in a while you get like this little, a little bit of steam coming out of the geyser.
I know, everybody pulls their phones up. It's like, why isn't it going?
I know, it's like, it was supposed to happen 2 minutes ago. You know, and there's this 10-minute window or something where it happens, but it's just so fun. It's so unique. And for me, it just builds like, you know, the whole world is here. You have people from Italy to the left of you, people from China to the right of you. You know, you won't be able to communicate at all, but you'll both be like, we're coming after him.
We found Old Faithful.
We're just so happy and excited to see it. It's just one of the only places, I think, in the whole world, the whole national park system for sure, where everybody just gathers to celebrate one special thing, and it's so cool.
Yeah, I'm with you on that actually, but it was funny because last time we were there a couple months ago, we were watching Old Faithful and we were watching it from the benches near everybody, and it was fun to like hear all the chatter around us of people just like, when's it gonna go? You know, how much longer do we have to wait? She's been holding her camera up for 20 minutes, you know? Like, it was just really funny. But what was even funnier to me was that Castle Geyser erupted while we were waiting for Old Faithful. And Old Faithful was like trying to start, you know, like all those false starts. And then you see Castle back behind it, quite a ways back, just like going crazy. And everybody's looking at each other going, well, what's that? Like, why are we sitting here? We're missing that. Why don't we go over there? And like, you could just see like all the confusion on people's faces. Like, are we at the wrong spot? Like, what are we doing here? Should we be over there?
Oh my gosh,
and
that was
I was
so funny.
just chuckling to myself because I was like, you know, it took us a while to actually get to those other geysers around Old Faithful because so often we would just go to Old Faithful.
Right.
But yeah, the spirit and the excitement around it is really fun. But like I said, I last about an hour or so, and then I'm like, I need some quieter space.
Yes.
You know, I need to kind of get away from all the crowds. And so, but that's what surprised me, I guess, is like you can stay at Old Faithful. You don't have to move your car at all.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to walk along the boardwalks back behind it. You know, you go up Geyser Hill and there's a lot of smaller geysers and hot pools and some really cool like bacterial mats with color and stuff. And some really pretty oranges back up in there. And then you keep going and you hit like Grand Geyser, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's phenomenal. It's taller than Old Faithful, more water. You have to wait longer. It's harder to see, but it is on a schedule.
Yeah.
But like for Old Faithful, it's like a 20-minute interval. So they'll give you the time, you know, 11:30 plus or minus 10 minutes. So it could go off at 11:20 or 11:40, you know, anywhere in between there. But with Grand Geyser, I think it's like an hour and a half interval. And so like they give you the time 11:30, but you have to be there in between 10 and 1, you know, so it's like a 3-hour wait. It could go off any time in between there. And so it is harder, like if you have little kids or, you know, if you just don't want to wait, because that one is more of a waiting game. But oh my gosh, it is so worth it. It's so cool.
It's amazing. Every once in a while, when you're walking along those boardwalks behind Old Faithful, you'll just see like a park ranger sprinting. You'll be like, what's he doing? And, you know, he'll like, in his like running breath, he'll be like, behind Geyser, well, this way. Or, you know, he'll like try to explain, you know, what's going on in a different part of Geyser Hill. And so, I mean, there's a bunch of geysers bigger than Old Faithful. They're just less frequent or harder to predict. Yeah. And so you can get really lucky sometimes and see some amazing things. But you'll also be like, I remember one of our first times as a family when our kids were really little. I remember walking past Grand Geyser and seeing like an old man and his wife like asleep on the benches. And I was just like, what?
What are they doing?
What a weird place to take a nap. And now I realize they're just like, nope, before we die, we're going to see Grand Geyser.
Yeah, which is totally worth it. I mean, yeah, and there's other ones. There's like Riverside Geyser and Daisy Geyser, and there's a whole bunch right there that actually are on a timer of some sort.
Yes.
So if you go into the visitor center there at Old Faithful, they will have all those predicted geysers up there on the board telling you when is the next eruption for those. And so, you know, a lot of times we will just plan. I mean, we've been to Yellowstone a lot, and so we're not like trying to get through the whole park on each visit,
right?
You know, but there are a lot of times where we'll just plan a full day in Old Faithful area to try to catch as many of those geysers as we can.
Right.
And so that's a really fun activity. If you are just like so excited about the geysers in Yellowstone, then that area by far is the coolest place to just hang out and see what you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why Old Faithful is probably my number one location. If I was to choose, Old Faithful area, the surrounding little area right there is just incredible, miraculous.
One funny story before we move on past Old Faithful is there's another geyser back in there called Beehive Geyser. And Beehive Geyser is not necessarily on a schedule, but what it has is it has like another small little geysery thingy next to it that will start spewing when Beehive Geyser is getting ready to go off. And so they will, like, if they see that little indicator geyser start spewing, then they'll like put it over the PA system, like Beehive Geyser is going to erupt in 5 minutes or whatever, you know. So like you never know how to time it. We've been lucky enough. We've seen it twice. Well, at least I've seen it twice. You didn't because we were potty training the first time, and our son had to go to the bathroom, and we knew that Beehive got they had given us the indicator that it was going to go off, but you know, so our little son had to go to the bathroom, of course, right at that time. So John's like running into the visitor center trying to help him, and I'm running to the geyser like, I don't have to be a parent right now. I get to go see this. I barely made it for that one. And that one's cool because it's like an airplane engine. It's just like so funneled and the pressure is so high that it's just like, it's really loud and it shoots it really high.
Yeah.
But then we did go back and we saw it again. Luck of all luck. That's just what happens when you stay around that area so much.
Yes.
But we were on the opposite side. We were closer to the geyser this time, and we got majorly soaked by it.
Yes.
And our 5-year-old still talks about that. Mom, remember that time that we got so wet and I dropped my hat and you had to run back in and get it? And it was so cool. And so like those are the experiences that we remember is like kind of those, I like to have a plan, but then also I think that's why I like this area so much, because all my plan has to be is blocking out like 8 hours to be on Geyser Hill or in the Old Faithful area, just seeing what we can see.
Yes. Oh, it is so much fun.
Yeah. So if you're lucky enough to be there during Beehive Geyser, like that one is so cool. And the water wasn't hot. We got really, really wet.
Yeah, it's a cold geyser,
and it was
which is
not
crazy.
Hot. Yeah.
Like even the plumbing underneath Old Faithful is so varied and diverse that there can even be boiling pots and cold water geysers.
Yeah.
And so
it was so cool.
It's amazing. And I'm just really glad that he didn't drop his hat in the bathroom, and it was better that he dropped it at Beehive Geyser.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
cool. So Old Faithful is found along the lower loop of Yellowstone. And so if you look at a map, Yellowstone basically has 2 loops. You've got your lower loop, and that's where you'll find most of the geyser activity and all of the hot pots and things like that is along that lower loop.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also got an upper loop that's more of like the wildlife and the scenery part of Yellowstone. And so I think, we'll move around the lower loop for now, talking about all the geyser stuff, and then we'll move up to the upper loop and talk more about the wildlife.
Sweet.
So going around the loop from Old Faithful, if you go up just a few miles, is when you'll hit Grand Prismatic Spring.
Yeah. Going north from Old Faithful, baby. It's so exciting. Hitting these geyser basins is so fun. And Grand Prismatic is spectacular. And I'm not overusing that word. It is
Everything
so
in Yellowstone is spectacular. Yeah, Grand Prismatic is the largest hot spring in the park.
Right.
And so you definitely don't want to skip this one. You have a couple different options for seeing it. You can either walk the boardwalks right next to it. So you're like down right next to all the colors and, you've got the steam in your face type of experience. Or you can hike the Grand Prismatic Overlook Trail, which is one of the newest trails in Yellowstone. They just put that one in a couple years ago. But you can hike up there, and then you can get a bird's eye view of the springs so that you can see, how the colors all go out from each other and all the bacterial mats and all that. So, you get the big overview of the spring.
One of my favorite things about Grand Prismatic, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the fun facts episode, but it is one of the greatest examples of thermophiles anywhere in the park, and how different colors represent different communities of organisms and things like that. And so as you look at Grand Prismatic, it's not just, a hot pool with different temperatures and, a few different colors. It's a living, I don't know necessarily breathing, but it's living thing that is pretty darn incredible, and it's gorgeous. And, it's not just Grand Prismatic either right there. It's got Excelsior Geyser, which is probably the clearest blue color anywhere in the park. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I don't know, it's just so much fun exploring that place, and especially going up onto the overlook and being like, oh, that's where I was walking?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so always definitely plan on a Grand Prismatic stop. That spot does get super busy.
So competitive for parking.
We don't go there in the middle of the day ever if we can avoid, if we can help it. So keep that in mind. But continuing around the lower loop, the other really busy part that people want to see when they come to Yellowstone is the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a really big must do for your first time in Yellowstone. And you're not in the geyser area at this point when you get over to Canyon, but you've got some huge waterfalls, which I think, the waterfalls in Yellowstone actually are incredibly impressive.
They're so powerful.
There's so many good big waterfalls in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So, Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone is the most famous waterfalls there, is the upper and lower that you'll see there. So, as you move your way around the loop and you're heading to Canyon Village, that's really what you're there to see, is those big beautiful waterfalls.
Yeah, and I don't think there's very many proper viewpoints in Yellowstone in some ways, because there's not very it's not like you're overlooking a lot of things all the time in Yellowstone. A lot of things are really close up to you in Yellowstone. But I think my favorite proper viewpoint is Artist Point in the Grand Canyon area, because it frames the lower falls so beautifully, among or amidst, I guess, however you want to say it, the striking yellow canyon walls. And there's a little stripe of green inside of the waterfall that is always there and is so pretty. But I don't know, I just think that is like the perfectly framed viewpoint in the park.
Yeah, Artist Point is so gorgeous. What's funny is my favorite viewpoint in the park is also in that area. It's not Artist Point, but Artist Point is so impressive. But mine is, if you can count it. I don't know if you can count it. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Is it a proper viewpoint?
I don't know if it's a proper one, because you actually have to hike to this one. But the brink of the lower falls.
Yeah, that one is so cool.
So I don't know if that really counts as like a proper viewpoint, but the canyon area of Yellowstone is just so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And also, let's not forget to mention, I'm pretty sure that's where Yellowstone got its name.
Yeah.
Besides all the bacterial mats and stuff, but like every time we go to the Grand Canyon or the Yellowstone, I'm like, the rocks are so yellow.
They're
here.
so yellow. Oh my gosh.
Stones, if you will. The stones are so yellow here.
Yes.
But like that whole canyon is just this big, beautiful canyon with a giant river, giant waterfalls, and like yellow stone.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool. And you're standing, the brink of the lower falls is actually my favorite proper hike.
It is a hike. It's not easy. It's not an easy viewpoint.
There are so many
to.
boardwalks and things in Yellowstone that I feel like this one's one of my favorite proper hikes, where you get a good bead of sweat going down your back, as you're making your way back up the trail. But as you stand, you're just, oh, it's incredible. So much water is just pouring over the cliff right next to you, and you're just looking down this vast canyon. And I don't know, it's so unlike most places. The Grand Canyon itself has some yellow rock, but it's mixed in with a whole lot of other colors. The Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone is so one solid yellow that it's just like, whoa, it's like you're walking into Willy Wonka's world, and I don't know, the whole canyon wall is full of everlasting gobstoppers. I don't know, it's exactly like, but it's just so, I don't know, it looks like candy, cotton candy or something, I don't know.
But yellow
cotton candy.
I don't think so.
Don't eat the yellow cotton candy.
It's just yellow. But I think what's cool, I really like the brink of the lower falls, and that one is a harder hike because you're working your way down to the waterfall. And then you stand above the water, you're right where the waterfall goes over the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a 300-foot waterfall. And then it has like the stripe of green, like down the waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually, if you look at pictures of the lower falls, you can see that stripe of green, even from Artist Point.
Right.
So it's really cool to see that up close. And then, there's other viewpoints there. There's another hike, Red Rock Falls, that's similar to Uncle Tom's, which is another popular hike over there. But yeah, there's some really good hiking trails in that area.
That make you work.
Yeah. A lot of it's going down and then coming straight back up.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a really cool area if you're like wanting to see something besides geysers. I think we don't put as much emphasis on the waterfalls in Yellowstone, but they are so impressive.
Yeah, and there's so many of them. There's there's water everywhere, and it's so cool. And one of my favorite, I wanted to share this about the canyon area because I think it illustrates, we've talked about this before, Ash and I, how the food in Yellowstone is not always that good.
No, I don't like eating in Yellowstone.
But I've told Ash before, because we do like a dining guide, and it seems like every 4 or 5 years, after restaurants and national parks have had enough bad reviews, they just change their name. And so If you work for the National Park Service, I'm sorry to say this, but
It's not the National Park Service, it's the concessionaires.
oh, it's all the concessionaires, yes.
Who run
But
it.
the Grand Canyon area just went through a brand new renaming of everything. So all the restaurants are fresh and the food sucks just as bad. So
Maybe it's gotten better. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt with their rebrand.
Sure.
Go try it out. Yeah, we don't love Yellowstone food. It's not great. My favorite, not in the park.
oh. See?
I know. Tangent. West Yellowstone has this pizza place called Wild West Pizza.
Uh-huh.
And they have
Oh yes.
do you remember? We
Mhm.
ordered this pizza. It's called the Butch Cassidy. And it has pulled pork and baked beans
On the pizza.
on the pizza. It
So
was
good.
like, I mean, it was really good. It wasn't like normal pizza.
Mm-mm.
It was really good. It was unique. And so, yes, we typically eat in West Yellowstone
Right.
when we're visiting Yellowstone because neither of us are huge fans of any of the food. We've tried some of the nicer restaurants there too. Most of them,
Mhm.
actually. I think we've eaten at pretty much every restaurant there. And I just don't love it.
Yeah. There's a lot of restaurants, so many restaurants throughout Yellowstone, and they all get renamed every 5 years. There's a few that I really like. There's one I like, one in Mammoth a lot, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But
Do you?
but-
Oh, I was thinking I didn't like.
well,
Mammoth
it's not even that
either.
I like it so much. I'll just say what it is. It's the I think it's the Mammoth Terrace Grill.
Oh, and it was like a $5 hamburger,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
like-
like the cheapest thing you can get in Yellowstone, and it was okay.
Yeah, and it's just the best value of any food.
Yeah.
It's actually filling. You proper hamburger. The fries are good-ish, and you spend very little money for it. And so it's just like, you know what? I'll give it to this place.
Yeah.
I like this one. Don't rename it. Keep the name.
The Roosevelt can do like horseback rides to the chuck wagon dinner.
Ooh, yeah.
That one's like the exception.
Yeah.
That one's good. But yeah, anyway, tangent.
Tangent to the food. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, on the lower loop, you're really talking about mostly Old Faithful and Canyon Village. You know, those are the main areas that you're going to want to hit, but there's so many in between.
Mhm.
You know, another one kind of over by Canyon is Mud Volcano area. That one is like a stinky, smelly, fun, bubbly, energetic part of the park, so we love that. You've got Hayden Valley right there, which is a good place to try your luck at seeing wildlife. You know, we don't spend a ton of time in Hayden Valley because we always just go up to Lamar Valley on the northern loop, so we'll talk more about that. But if you only have like a day in the park, you know, you're going to want to focus on that lower loop
Yes.
and do, you know, make sure you get to Old Faithful, make sure you get to Canyon Village, drive through Hayden Valley and see what you can see, because that's a really good spot to see wildlife, especially buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
We almost always get stuck in buffalo jams kind of around that Mud Volcano, Hayden Valley area.
Yeah, they like to hang out by the river and everything down there. It's
Yeah.
awesome. They got a really nice little valley. That's why it's called the Hayden Valley. But yeah, it's so pretty. And I don't know, it's just something really cool when you see a herd of bison crossing a river. It just seems so wild. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And just the whole Mud Volcano area, not to get stuck up on this area for too long, but the Mud Volcano area, for me, is like an example of how wild and alive Yellowstone still is, because I think that's the youngest part of Yellowstone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that whole area right there was basically created and blew up out of a hill in 1870. And so
That's right. I was not thinking in those time frames, but yeah, that's true.
yeah,
It's pretty recent as
Yes.
far as Yellowstone goes.
I think the story goes like the one of the expeditions that was exploring the area, they were kind of somewhat camped out nearby, and then all of a sudden they just hear these giant booms and the earth is literally shaking underneath them, and so they of course, as brave as smart as they can be, they decide to go towards those booms. I don't know if the earth was shaking underneath me, I might go the other way. But they walked towards the booms to see what was going on. And literally Mud Volcano was bursting out of this mountain. And oh my gosh, I just can't imagine. It would have been so cool. But it just goes to show that area is still alive. Yellowstone is alive and changing every day. Anywhere, like I don't know, Yellowstone seems kind of developed with roads and restaurants and hotels and, there's even like a car repair shop. But like if Yellowstone wanted, it could get rid of all of that really easily, because just with a few explosions, if the earth just burped a little bit, all of that would be gone, and it would just be so crazy. So I love Mud Volcano because it illustrates how active the whole area is.
Yeah, and it smells super bad.
Yeah.
Like that's the best place to go if you want your kids to remember the smell of sulfur and the smell of Yellowstone, take them to Mud Volcano. And it's fun because like the mud is bubbling, and then you've got Dragon's Mouth, which is like, oh, it's so cool. The water comes in and out and the steam comes in and out like a dragon is breathing. So that is really fun. And then I would also say, if you have enough time to spend multiple days down on the lower loop, aside from the places we've already talked about, you'll want to add in like the West Thumb, which is another geyser basin, but it's right on the shore of Yellowstone Lake. And so that's really unique. You've got the geysers in the lake, which is really cool. And then one of my favorite trails in the park is the Storm Point Trail.
Yeah, that was neat.
It's different than most things that you see, but it's a really good way to see Yellowstone Lake, and it gets almost like sand dunes. It looks like sand dune-ish down right by the lake. And so you've got like some cliffs and some sand dune looking things. And then you've got this beautiful big lake. So that's one of my favorite, like if you're looking for something quiet to do, there's not very many people. You'll probably see more bears or buffalo than you will people. That's a really cool trail too. So to kind of round out that lower loop, you've got those main areas that a lot of people go to and a lot of people want to see, but there are a lot of smaller places you can also add in to find some more off the beaten path or, some more solitude in that park. Okay, so that pretty much rounds out the lower loop. I mean, obviously, there's so much more we could talk about.
So much more.
We could talk about Yellowstone. We could make a whole podcast around Yellowstone, probably.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that doesn't even really begin to hit all of the, things that you need to know for each of those places. But it's a good overview as to kind of what your day or days would look like along the lower loop. So let's jump up to kind of the upper loop area of the park, or the northern part of the park. So driving around from like Canyon. So if you look at a map of Yellowstone, there is a road that goes like right in between both loops. And so that's the road from like, so you've got West Yellowstone, you've got Madison, Norris, Canyon, and then kind of out to like Fishing Bridge and then out to Cody eventually. And so that road is kind of the middle of the park. If you can stay along that road, or we really like West Yellowstone because it's close to the middle of the park.
Yeah, that's our ideal location to stay, pretty much anywhere along that road. But I think our favorite gateway town to Yellowstone would be West Yellowstone.
It just makes it so easy because a lot of the other gateway towns, if you're going to stay, like if you want to spend time in the southern part of the park, you can stay down there and just do the southern part, but then I would move lodging to the northern part to see the northern part, because a lot of people don't realize just how massive Yellowstone is.
And how long it takes to get from place to place, because you're not going 70 miles an hour.
Right. I mean, it's a good amount of driving. And so, so we'll either do like West Yellowstone if we don't want to move around our lodging. We will camp in the park. We've camped in the park a lot. It's just, if we're not staying along that main middle road, then we'll break it up between like staying in the south and staying in the north.
Yes, exactly. And coming in from West Yellowstone really isn't that, I mean, it takes a little bit of time, but generally speaking, it doesn't take that long to commute into the park, basically, unless there. So if you've ever driven into Yellowstone National Park from West Yellowstone, then you have to travel through the Madison area, and you generally go up past like little Gibbon Falls and that kind of area, and you follow the river for a while. And I think most people, I don't know, there's like this term of kind of like legend, it's like this legendary term, the Great White Buffalo. Everybody's, as they're entering Yellowstone, they're all looking for that great white buffalo because white buffalo are considered kind of sacred to Native American peoples. Well, as you enter the Madison area, you're approaching the Madison area, there's not the great white buffalo, but there is always the great one buffalo. And I don't know if Ash knows what I'm trying to hit at here.
I mean, but I don't look for a great white buffalo when I go to Yellowstone.
That's true. There are great white buffalo out there. But I think so. I remember when I was in college, I referred to it as like the girl that got away, the great white buffalo. That's what we... That's what we always referred to the girl that got away as. She's the great white buffalo.
Weird. Okay, but the great one buffalo, I don't...
The great one buffalo. And so you have a friend that has shared her experience of getting stuck in traffic going into the Madison area from West Yellowstone for like 6 hours.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But that's what bad timing can do. And sometimes you just can't avoid it because of the buffalo. Yeah, exactly. But what's so funny is that is not the area where you see large herds of buffalo. That is usually where you see the great one buffalo that literally piles up traffic for himself. He is like the Instagram influencer buffalo that's just like posing for everybody to stop traffic. He's the one that keeps everybody from getting where they want to on time. It's the one buffalo that somebody stops in the middle of the road, puts their flashers on, and like stops traffic for 7 miles, you know. Oh my gosh. That stretch. That stretch of road from West Yellowstone, like up through, you go through Madison and kind of up towards Norris. I feel like every time I have to drive that, I have to like give myself a pep talk to get through it, because it's just like, I know that this is where everybody enters the park. And, you know, they're all so excited to see wildlife that, you know, the one buffalo that's down by the river, whatever, you know, like everybody has to stop for that because they haven't seen anything yet. So they're super excited. So I understand that. But as a repeat visitor to Yellowstone, that is like the most painful stretch of road in that park.
If you get stuck behind somebody you just know, it's just like, I know there is one buffalo taking a nap and everybody has just stopped. And if it's you, if you're the first one driving in the morning, you're cruising along, you see a buffalo, you're just like, tunnel vision, eyes straight forward, don't look, nobody look out the window, don't look at this buffalo.
We never stop for just one buffalo.
Do not stop for the great one buffalo.
Yeah, no, that stretch of road like gives me anxiety because I always know it's gonna like double or triple the amount of time it usually should take to drive from West Yellowstone over to Madison or Norris. Yeah, we always get out early enough to hopefully avoid most of that, but it's like people along that stretch of road, they lose all reason when driving there. It's like they're so excited to be in Yellowstone and so excited to see something. It's painful. It's painful. But people just like stop in the middle of the road and you can't get around, and people are out of their vehicles just walking down the road and blocking all the traffic. And can you tell that I love that area of the park? Oh my gosh. It's very pretty. And there's like, there is some small little valleys, you know, that are actually pretty picturesque. And that's usually where the one buffalo and a couple of elk might hang out. And it's, you know, it's got some beautiful grasses and a little river and everything. So it's pretty picturesque. It's like, it's a false summit is really what it is. Because you really want to get beyond that to get into Yellowstone, and things get bigger and better, and it's so cool. But it's the false summit that just captures the attention of, you know, the first time visitors that are just so excited to see anything, any wildlife. And so any chance of seeing one animal is just like, first of all, it is magical, and I cannot blame them for being like, oh, that's the first buffalo I've ever seen in my whole life. And so yes, you should stop, but you find a parking spot, please.
Take your picture and get back in the car and get back up to...
You shouldn't even get out of your car. Just roll down the window, take your picture, or find a parking spot.
Yes. This is our advice of many, many trips. We know that buffalo is amazing. It's the first one you've seen, but there is so much more waiting for you just beyond the river bend. Like, what's that song? Just beyond the river bend?
Yeah, that's the
There's
song.
20 more just around the river bend. Don't stop your car.
Let us all drive free.
This is Ash, the great Willow. Grandmother Willow is whispering to you through the podcast. Don't stop your car, dear. Keep driving.
Yeah, they probably wish I sounded like Grandmother Willow. My voice is a little more stern.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so that we do usually stay in West Yellowstone, and we do usually have to make that drive. But if you're coming in from West Yellowstone and you're wanting to get to the northern part of the park, you'll pass by Norris.
Mm-hmm.
And Norris is one of those places that I think a lot of people don't know a lot about. It's not one of the most popular spots in the park, but it should be.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's the hottest part of Yellowstone, first of all. And so when you get up in there, it's just like, it's so hot. You can tell. I mean, what you see is different than any of the other geyser basins. The colors are different. The steam, there's just so much more steam. You can feel the heat coming out of the ground. I mean, it's hot.
So this is literal, though. It's not just... It is the hottest part of the park. And there's a park ranger a few years ago that she was hiking along the trail, kind of doing her patrol, and she noticed that she could smell. It's not the typical smell you smell in Yellowstone, which is kind of the sulfury, the bog of eternal stench, that kind of a smell. What she smelled was maple syrup.
Okay.
And what that signifies is that the trees are literally cooking. And so they're kind of bubbling out their sap. And so she realized, she was like, I better stop here and take some ground temperature measurements. And she put the thermometer or whatever the instruments they used, they put them into the trail, and just like 2 to 3 centimeters below the surface of the trail, it was 200 degrees.
Oh my God.
And so they had to close down that trail for like a couple of weeks until things kind of normalized again. But it is the hottest part of the park, and trees will literally boil in their own sap in places like this. And so it's so cool.
So my favorite thing about Norris is the colors. So if you walk along the Porcelain Basin, that's where you'll see most of those colors that are unique from really anywhere else. So you don't get like the big, well, I mean, you do get some of this too, but like the big vibrant colors of other geyser basins around Yellowstone. It really is like, it's very pastel-y colors. You've got a lot of like pastel greens and blues and pinks and stuff. And anyway, so just the color of the water, it's almost like if you've seen like the glacial silt that you'll find in like glacial lakes and rivers up, Glacier National Park or places like that, it's kind of like that, but in Yellowstone in these pools, it's just like, it's got like this silty look. And it is so pretty. So I love that. And I love all the steam and just like all the activity in that area. There's a lot of like steam that's coming out of the side of the hill and
Steamboat Geyser.
Yeah, and then Steamboat Geyser is in Norris Basin.
The tallest, the biggest, most amazing geyser in the world. The highest geyser. It will erupt over 300 feet into the air. So
you'll see signs at the parking lot for Norris saying, park your car at your own risk. Because if Steamboat erupts, then it will send that mineral-y water and acidic water or whatever it is, that can actually damage vehicles and stuff. It will send it out into that parking lot. Now, I have to say, I hate Steamboat Geyser. Because
you're jealous.
I'm so jealous. That geyser is not on a schedule. You never know when it's going to go off. We stop at Norris every single trip.
Yep.
Every single trip. We're like, we got to go to Norris. We park and we pray that it's the day that we're going to see Steamboat Geyser. So we have stopped by Steamboat Geyser so many times. And like it will like steam and stuff. Like it's still cool to see, but I've never actually seen it erupt.
Your brothers have.
Which is the worst part of it all, because how many times have my brothers been to Yellowstone? I don't know, like...
Twice.
Yeah, so many less times than us. And in fact, they didn't even know that Steamboat Geyser was really there, and we told them about it. We're like, well, when you go, you've got to stop and see if you can see Steamboat. Well, what do you know? Like, the one time that they go to see Steamboat, it's erupting. It's erupting. And they send us, like, pictures and videos. And I'm just, like, in the corner fuming mad. So, like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. We've tried to see that geyser so many times.
Oh, my gosh. What a charmed life.
Gosh.
Ash just sitting in the corner sending middle finger emojis back with their texts.
I was really nice and I was like, congratulations, but I'm like dying inside. I was so sad. I have not seen Steamboat Geyser erupt. We've been there close to like eruption days. Like, it's like, maybe we should just like camp out.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should just camp out at Norris, and as soon as we like hear something, and we'll just stay there for like the whole summer.
Right. That would be awesome. Totally worth it. And as soon as we leave, it'll erupt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Those signs that people put up in factories, 19 days since last incident kind of a thing. And as soon as we leave, it'll go back to zero the day we leave.
I'm pretty mad at Steamboat, but it's there. So definitely go stop by.
Yes.
Hopefully you're luckier than we are and you'll get to see it.
Even if just to see it in its steam phase or something like that, it's still really impressive just steaming and squirting every once in a while. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Norris is just one of those. Not a lot of people know about it. It does get busy still, but like it's not one of those like places that you hear people talk about all the time. So that's definitely a really cool place to stop.
Right. Plus, it's named after Chuck.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The biggest geyser named after Chuck Norris.
Who was named first, actually?
If you keep going around the upper loop past Norris, that's when you start getting into like all the really pretty parts of Yellowstone. I think, that's when you start seeing more big mountains in the distance.
A lot more vistas and views going up north.
Yeah, you've got some really good like meadows that you'll pass by where you'll see it's good for wildlife sightings. We usually see elk kind of up in there. And then you get to Mammoth Hot Springs.
Right.
Which is a super cool part of Yellowstone.
Oh, I love Mammoth Hot Springs. I feel like it's one of the only geyser areas that you can literally see from so far away. You can see it in the distance. Like, I feel like a lot of geyser basins are kind of tucked in trees and things like that. But Mammoth Hot Springs literally has taken over the side of a mountain. And it has upper and lower terraces, and you just have all of these. It's just amazing. Like, as you come at it from the east, so if you're driving from like Lamar Valley and heading back towards Mammoth Hot Springs, you can see it in the distance, and it's literally like a city on a hill kind of a thing. It's just a terrace on a hill. It's incredible. I love seeing it from the distance. It's so big, and I don't know. Mammoth Hot Springs is one of the more historic areas of the park too, because it's the headquarters of the park, and it was where people first entered when the park was established, right?
Yeah. So Mammoth is different as it does have some geothermal activity. Like you said, it's coming down the mountainside and it's super pretty, but you won't get like geysers and hot pools and stuff, in that area. It's the terracing and the water deposits and the eating away of the mountains. So yeah, that's super cool. But yeah, so the north entrance, which you have the town of Gardner right outside of the north entrance, and that town has a lot of fun stuff you can do. It's small, but if you're hoping to spend a lot of your time in the northern part of the park, it's a good place to stay. And then from there, that's where you find the Roosevelt Arch as you're coming into the park from Gardner.
Yeah.
And the Roosevelt Arch is the original entrance to Yellowstone, right? And so that's where most people would have come in when Yellowstone was first made a national park.
Right.
And so that kind of marks that. And then you get into Mammoth Hot Springs, which like a lot of it is the park headquarters, and the park buildings that they use like to manage Yellowstone were where everybody is, the superintendent's office, all of that, like all the National Park Service, like main stuff for Yellowstone is all housed in the old Fort Yellowstone buildings.
And some of like the old barracks too, right?
Yeah. So this is like the area where when Yellowstone was like first established and even a little bit before that and stuff, like they actually sent the army to Yellowstone to protect it.
Yeah.
But, protect it from poachers and protect it from what was happening at the time. And so the army actually was stationed right there in Mammoth. And yeah, so there's a lot of really cool older buildings. You can actually do a walking tour right there if you're really interested in the history of, Yellowstone becoming a national park and seeing what those converted buildings actually used to be. So it's a really cool area. It's the more historic part of the park. And it's just really cool to enter the park from the arch.
Yeah, the same way Teddy Roosevelt would have.
Yeah, and then go up into that historic area. And then, of course, you've got all the beautiful terracing down the mountain.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And one of my favorite things to see, I love to visit Mammoth in the fall because the elk are just overrunning the place. It's so cool. You get to see all the mamas and their babies running around, and then you get to see these crazy, huge male elk that have these massive racks on their heads, and they're just bugling, and it is so pretty. I remember we were in the campground up there, and I think one of our kids, I think we were eating lunch or something like that, and we just hear this crazy bugle, and I like open up the door to the trailer, and just like 2 campsites away is this massive bull elk, and he's just going crazy bugling right there. And it was so awesome.
It was so cool. Mammoth is the best place to go in the fall if you want to see and hear the bugling elk.
Yes. Or get hit by an elk if you get too close. So do not get keep your distance away from them. They are preoccupied doing their own thing. And if you get in their way, they will not be happy about it. So they will take it out on you. So stay away from the elk, but just enjoy the view. They are amazing.
Yeah. I love Mammoth for that reason. And, that whole area up there in the north. So from Mammoth, if you keep driving east along the park road, that's when you hit the Lamar Valley.
Right.
And the Lamar Valley is just unmatched for its wildlife and the wildlife viewing that you can do up there. I mean, there are people who plan just to come to Yellowstone, just to go to the Lamar Valley to see what they can see, So if you're a big wildlife enthusiast, there's no better place in any national park than the Lamar Valley.
Yeah, I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. Yellowstone is the true American safari, and Lamar Valley is where everything happens. It's all there. There is no better place in the park for you to see everything that you could imagine. There's all different types of creatures. You have all the ungulates, you like the bison, the bighorn sheep, you've got the elk, you have pronghorn, you've got all of those big veggie eaters, and then you can also have the chance to see a lot of the predators too. That area is where you have the best chance of seeing wolves. And that is the coolest thing. I love going up there. I still have not really seen one very close because they're kind of timid and they like to stay a little bit further away from the road. But we have seen wolves up there and we've seen bears up there. And it is so much fun. I love driving along there. And it's cool because it's kind of like what I was saying about Old Faithful, where you get to enjoy it with a bunch of people. You can always tell when somebody sees something in the Lamar Valley because there's always a clump of cars, and they're all excited and telling each other, oh, we saw 2 bears and look over there, point your spotting scopes over there. You can see lots of cool things and everybody's helping everybody, see the cool wildlife that you can see up there.
Yeah, my favorite. So I remember for my birthday, I think it was just a couple years back, all I wanted to do was go to Yellowstone and see wolves and drive the Beartooth Highway. And that's what we did for my birthday. And I was going to be so devastated if we didn't see wolves. We had seen wolves in the Lamar Valley before. And the cool thing is you can see the wolves year round.
Yes.
And, it doesn't even, it can even be in the middle of the day during the summer. You just never know. And so So we had seen them before, and then we went for my birthday and we saw wolves again. And so it was just like the best birthday ever. And then we drove the Beartooth Highway, which is just right outside. You go out the northeast entrance of Yellowstone, and then that connects to the Beartooth Highway, which is like Great American Highway. Have to drive it. It's so beautiful and just so cool. So definitely do that while you're up there too. But yeah, that was like the best birthday in the history of birthdays. Wolves and the Beartooth Highway in Yellowstone.
It was pretty incredible. It was a great birthday, and it wasn't even mine. I loved it. It was so much fun. The Beartooth Highway blew me away. When we did that, it was incredible. And, there's so many... I didn't realize how high those mountains are and how high that road takes you. It takes you so high to the top of stuff. And it's just gorgeous. But seeing it with wolves and having it be part of that full day, it was just incredible. And I think the wolves that day, they were a lot closer than we expected. I think we saw like closer. One wolf just like patrolling pretty close by. Yeah,
he was a dark coat, which always makes a difference when you're trying to see them. But yeah, he wasn't that far off the road, and he's just working his way around. You can see wolves. It's the Slough Creek pack. And so if you go kind of down by the Slough Creek campground, kind of in that area too, they do move around. They're not always in the same area. Their den isn't always in the same area. But yeah, we've had good luck seeing them there. But mostly, yeah, you just kind of drive until you see a big group of people with their spotting scopes out. And you definitely want your own spotting scope or binoculars if you're hoping to see wolves, because a lot of times they are pretty far away.
Right, yeah. One of my favorite things that I didn't realize was one of my favorite things until we were kind of stuck in a bison jam up near the Yellowstone area is, like, I think before I heard it, I had no idea what sound a buffalo made. I just kind of assumed they made kind of a mooing sound, kind of like a cow. But
they're so offended by that.
But it is so different. They call it they call it like a buffalo or a bison bellowing is what they call it. And they have like the deepest guttural blurt is all I can say is what it is. It's so cool. Ash actually does a really good impersonation of a buffalo.
Was that close?
That was nailed. It was right on the head.
It's pretty scary, actually. Like, because I've videotaped bison jams that we've gotten stuck in. Mm-hmm. And I'll like be holding my camera out, and then you'll hear it like off to the side of you. It's just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, they're really loud. Like, they sound pretty mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and most of them are mamas.
Yeah.
Most of them are
mean mamas.
They're crossing the road and like bossing their kids around. What are you doing over there?
They do. It's so cool. I have to say, so one of my favorite hikes in Yellowstone is up in the Lamar Valley.
Ooh.
It's
the Lamar
River Trail.
Yeah.
And the reason that I like this hike, so there's not really like a set destination. I mean, there's a few different places that you can go along this trail, but the reason that I like it is it just like, it feels really wild, because you're just out in the middle of this valley and you know how many big animals are out there. B, the views are just beautiful. You're following the river. You're in the actual Lamar Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And then C, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure, because you don't have to go that far if you don't want to. You can branch off a couple places. There's some other trails up in that area that connect to the Lamar River Trail. So that's fun. And I have to tell you, I don't know if you know this, but that trail terrifies me. And the reason that the Lamar River Trail terrifies me is because I can't think of a time that we've hiked that trail where we've like actually been able to get to where we were planning to get to.
Right. Because sometimes you don't have a choice about how far you can go.
There's so many buffalo around there, and you can see like the big, huge, because they burrow into the dirt and roll around and stuff. And so you can see like their big burrows or their big like rut marks, I don't know what you call them, down in the dirt. So you're like passing these as you're hiking, and you're just wondering like, okay, when are we going to find the herd? Because they always hang out around there. And I remember like one time we hiked it was like we got to, because there's like a part of the trail where you can kind of go up on a little hill, and we wanted to go up there, but we like went around the corner and there's like this huge buffalo herd right there. And we just like look at each other and we go like, I guess our trail is over, because you don't want to hike down in there. And then plus, like, we've hiked it before where it was clear when we went through, and then on the way back we can see the buffalo like working their way towards the trail, like knowing that, oh, we gotta hoof it, because if we don't go fast, these buffalo are gonna like block us in.
Oh yeah,
we're not gonna be able to finish our trail. So that trail is so cool to me, but at the same time it terrifies me because I always feel like I'm gonna get stranded out there with the buffalo.
Yes. Well, it's not just a buffalo too. Do you remember what other prints we found out there, or what we didn't know what we were looking at? So I remember the first time we did that trail, we kept seeing like these holes in the ground, and we're like, what is this from? And it wasn't the big buffalo ones where they kind of wallow. It was smaller, but like deeper underneath some plants. And I remember took us a while, but we finally figured it out. I think we had to ask a ranger. It was bears digging for roots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so there's tons of creatures out there. You never know what you're going to find when you go over that hill. For us, it was like the buffalo, and it's like on Dumb and Dumb. Big gulps, huh? Well, see you later. It's just like, all right, this is as far as we're going. Big gulps, huh? See you later. We just turn around and go back to the car, because we definitely not, trying to get our way through a buffalo herd, or if you see a bear or something, just turn right around and head back to the car, man. Snap your picture. Do not linger.
Yeah. Yeah. That's part of the adventure of it. That's what I love about the Lamar Valley. So, I mean, I would say, I think both of us, it's hard to choose a favorite area of Yellowstone because there's so many different things that you can see. But, if you're choosing like a non-geyser area as being your favorite, I think both of us would agree it has to be the Lamar Valley.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Easy at number 2, definitely a contender for number 1.
Yeah.
So it's just too cool. It's amazing. It's so many things that you can see that you can't, that are so hard to see other places. I think that's what it is. It's for me, it's like the ease of seeing hard to see animals.
Yeah.
At the Lamar Valley.
Yeah, because, you'll see the buffalo, you'll see the wolves, you'll see the bears. But in addition to that, I mean, we've seen bighorn sheep, we've seen mountain goats, we've seen pronghorn. You do really see a lot of really big, cool animals in there. So
absolutely. Bald eagles along the river, that kind of stuff. There's just so many cool things.
Now, it is worth noting that the Lamar Valley area was really hard hit by the floods in Yellowstone. 2022. And so they have since then, actually, they've gotten the roads open and stuff, but do just, expect that there may be some delays or something along those lines as you're traveling the northern part of the park, because that's really where the flooding hit the hardest. So Lamar Valley, the Mammoth Hot Springs area, the road that you're driving from Gardner to Mammoth, like, that road now is a road that was a back road. It wasn't the main road into the park. They actually had to do a lot of work on it to get it so that people could actually drive into the park from that side. And so for the next few years, I would anticipate, there is going to be construction up there. They are going to be doing things as they rebuild from the problems that they had from that flooding event in 2022. So do keep that in mind, but it's open. They did it. 6 months later, they somehow got those roads back open, which is incredible.
That is incredible. So for the next few years, bring your binoculars and your patience.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not as many amenities up in that area, as you're driving through Lamar Valley and stuff, and going out the northeast entrance. Cook City is really small. Right. There's really not much there. And so already, when you're in the northern part of the park, you're going to want to have enough food and water and stuff with you. The bathrooms are a little fewer and harder to get to. And so, you just want to plan for a different experience than you experience down in the southern loop, where there's just a lot more infrastructure and a lot more people. Right.
Definitely different experiences between the northern loop and the southern loop, and totally different infrastructure available to you.
Yeah. So then as you're going as the Lamar Valley, you're kind of rounding out that northern loop. So you start heading down south again, and that's when you'll hit Tower Fall, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
darn
a huge
cool.
waterfall. It's super cool, and you can get ice cream there, which is fun. And then if you keep going down, that's when you go over Dunraven Pass, which is the highest point in Yellowstone that you can drive by road.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll go up, you're up in the mountains up there. That's where the Washburn Trail is. That's really popular if you're looking for like a longer day hike.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too long. I think like 5 miles, somewhere around
To the
there.
top of Mount Washburn?
Yeah.
That one was a cool one, though. It's really neat.
That one is cool. I feel like, that's kind of like the go-to if you're going to do a longer hike in Yellowstone. Most people think of Mount Washburn first.
Mm-hmm.
You think that it's a cool one, but like it's busy. It's really busy.
Yeah.
And so it's cool. I don't know. I felt like, yeah, it's good to do. It's good to do once. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
But it does feel a little bit busier than some of the other trails in the park. So when you get to the top, it's really pretty. You've got great views. You're looking out like towards the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone and stuff out the one direction. So yeah, it's really cool. But that road itself is like worth the drive because it's the highest point that you can drive. So you get a lot of really pretty mountain views out that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just meet up with Canyon, which, takes you back to the middle of the park. And there you have it. You've covered the south and the north loops.
Yeah. One thing that's really kind of neat, though, that you'll notice as you're driving around both these loops is, for the most part, I think most of the park is covered in a lot of lodgepole pine forests. And as you're driving around the park loops, you'll notice that a lot of the times you'll see like burn scars and you'll see areas where wildfire has come through, and it's kind of cool to see and to notice how like different areas have recovered and they're at different points of recovery. Like you'll have baby trees, and then you'll have like really thick stands of meat, like I don't know, teenager trees, and then you have some really beautiful bigger forests in certain areas. And I think some of those bigger forests are in kind of the Dunraven Pass area. And I don't know, I just think it's really cool because Yellowstone, it's so volcanic, but it's also got like a really cool fire cycle. And if you kind of notice that as you're driving around both of these loops, you'll see how fire has a big role in Yellowstone's ecology. And so for me, that's something that's pretty interesting that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's amazing all the different things that you see as you drive through Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So hopefully this episode was a good intro to Yellowstone. I can't call it anything else than an intro because we literally could talk about this for hours, all the different stops and all the different things you can see. But, if you can hit those main areas, especially as a first-time visitor, you will be so pleased with what you've seen and what you've been able to do in America's first national park. So now you might be wondering, what do I do with all this information, especially if you're hoping to actually make it real life vacation that your family takes. So I do have a full Yellowstone itinerary. People love this itinerary because it just helps you get through the park so well. I make sure to, let you know if there's other cool smaller stops in between the bigger stops that you don't want to miss, things that we didn't even mention today.
Man, so many things we didn't even mention.
So, if you're looking for more of a plan, then definitely check out the Yellowstone itinerary on Dirt in My Shoes. Also, if you're looking for more trip planning help, you'll find that over on YouTube. I'm going to start adding a lot more trip planning stuff to YouTube to answer those common questions that a lot of people have when they're trying to just figure out what they want to do and make a trip happen. So definitely check that out. But we have so much knowledge of Yellowstone above and beyond what most people have, just because we can't stay away.
I know, sometimes I feel like, should we go somewhere else for a vacation? But no, we don't. We always go to Yellowstone.
It is definitely one of our most visited national parks. Again, just because there's so much to see, there's so much variety, and just so many cool experiences that you can have with your family.
Thanks for exploring the national parks with us.
Please share, like, and subscribe. And if you need any help planning your own trip, click on over to dirtinmyshoes.com.
See you next week. Same time, same place.
And don't forget to get some dirt in your shoes.